Everything's on fire. Everything's on fire. Everything's on fire.
I think it's I don't know.
Good morning, Heat Seekers. Week 7. Can you believe we're in week 7 already? This season is flying by.
All the drama and all the injuries.
There's been a little bit of
but
drama.
yeah. So it always flies by. It seems like it's sad, but
Well, it looks like we might be kicking this episode off with a little trade action between Bryce and I in one of our higher stakes leagues. So I'm gonna go pull that up. He just sent that trade over.
get some opinions.
Yeah, one where I'm rebuilding, even though I have a solid team. It just has not worked out for me this year. I think I'm 0-6 and have like the 6th most points or something. So it's
you'll be bolstered up for next year though.
Oh yeah, add a little Trevor Lawrence to Joe Burrow in a super flex, and I wouldn't be upset about that. So let's check out this trade. Terry McLaurin and Hayden Hurst for Jarvis Landry and Noah Fant. I like both sides.
I mean, you're obviously
you need tight end sooner, and Fant's probably got the highest upside. Out of those two, and then I feel like I can get tight end later when I need it. I think I'm gonna have enough firepower to be able to go and improve that position, and and you know the question then becomes like, do you believe this Jarvis Landry that we're seeing now is the Jarvis Landry we're gonna see, down the road?
Right.
And that's where it gets a little tough for me. I think this is selling Jarvis Landry fairly low. I'll have to think on that one for a minute. And I might have to counter a little bit. Might have to add in a draft pick or something there. But I'm not a big Hayden Hurst guy, so that's what makes it tough in this one.
I know, yeah. He's kind of a boomer bust. He's been kind of a boomer bust this year, but he's a solid. You don't ever feel bad about putting him in, but you never always feel good either. You know what I mean? Like, you're like, yeah, he's serviceable. Like, I always feel more confident with Jimmy Graham if I'm looking for floor, which I have, but I just love Noah Fant. So.
Yeah, I love Noah Fant too. That's the other hard part is he was my favorite tight end last year, and he was being heavily used before his injury this year. So,
and make your wide receivers scary though.
Good morning to everybody over on YouTube and Facebook. We appreciate you guys showing up for another Sunday morning fantasy football tailgate. Like we said, week 7, season flying by. We already got a question in here. I went out on a limb and started Fulgham this week, but need help. Need to sit one out of the following: Juju, Odell, Hopkins, Robert Woods. Which one you sitting out of that group?
Wasn't Robert Woods dealing with a little bit of an injury this week?
Yeah, he was. At one point, he had popped up as questionable. I don't know if he had gotten more full practices, and it's so hard to gauge because even if they sat, it's Monday night, so
he will play. He's projected to play. So I'm sitting Juju.
Yeah, I think right now you have to sit Juju. It's a good problem to have. There's a very good chance that no matter who you sit, you're gonna regret it out of that group, and there's a chance that all of them succeed. And no matter what, you feel pretty good about your lineup at the end of the week. So, it would come down to probably Juju and Robert Woods for me. But right now, we're just not seeing the usage we thought we would see out of Juju, and Deontay Johnson is back, so that makes it even a little bit tougher. Yeah, a couple other people in the chat said Woods is reported good to go, so I will say it's I don't look at matchups that often, but there are some matchups that you can't overlook, and the Bears have been real good against the wide receivers this year. But I still think Robert Woods is just too good of a route runner. He can get open in a lot of ways that I'm not sitting him. If Aaron Jones sits due to injury, what kind of fantasy football production should we expect from Jamal Williams?
So I think you can almost expect 60 to 75% of what Aaron Jones would do when he's healthy. Jamal Williams this year, when he gets his touches, he does not look bad. He actually kind of looks fast. He can catch the ball. So he's not as good as Aaron Jones. He's way more explosive. But I would be perfectly happy subbing him in if I had Aaron Jones and expecting 60 to 75%, which could still be like 15 to 20 points. So that's what I'm expecting.
With Aaron Jones out, I think Williams is a smash play. He already gets work in the passing game. He already gets work in general, but Dylan is going to get some carries, but we still don't know if Dylan is going to be a pass catcher or not. And Williams is. Williams is very good in the pass game, and that's what's really kept him in the league so far, is his ability to catch the ball. Because he was kind of a plotter when he came in, but everybody's right. People in the chat are saying the same thing. He has looked better running the ball this year than he has in the past, and there's been I've seen, and I don't watch every minute of Packers, but there's been some explosion plays that I've seen him run that we just didn't see early in his career. I think as his first year, he had one carry for 15 or more yards. It was just consistently like 4 to 8 yards was where he lived, and I think it's a smash spot. Houston's run defense is horrific. I mean, we saw what happened last week, and I like Williams a lot in this spot. 1 PPR, Landry, Edelman, Higgins. I'm going to Higgins here because I think Higgins has the most upside out of this group. I think the Cincy Cleveland game is a sneaky shootout game, and Higgins is proving to be pretty good, and he's kind of elevated over the last few weeks to kind of their number one option in that passing game. And they're probably going to always have to throw a lot, and especially with mixing out. Gio Bernard is another backup that gets to play this week. That's in a pretty good spot, but I do like Higgins here.
Yeah, I think he's getting targeted. I feel like more and more every week, especially down the sideline, which he's doing really well. So I like Higgins now and for the foreseeable future. I would say Edelman, but I just don't trust. I mean, with him being the number one wide receiver there, he's kind of older. I just don't trust the way that Patriots passing game is going. They need a stud athlete, and I have a little bit of a theory that if they win this week, they might make a push to trade for maybe one of these bigger name wide receivers that have been rumored to be on the block to try and make a playoff push. If they lose, I could see them almost just rolling with what they got and seeing where their draft pick lands for next year. So
we have a donation from Derek Just asking Gio or Jackson. I'm assuming this is Justin Jackson.
Yeah.
And I'm going with Gio because we don't really know if there's anybody else that's going to get a lot of work in the Cincinnati backfield.
Mm-hmm.
We know he's going to get pass catching work already. But Jackson and Kelly could split a lot of the work both ways. And we just don't know how that's going to work out. They both, Gio's matchup's tougher on the run side. But luckily he can save that all with receiving. Jackson has a good matchup, but we just don't know how that workload's going to be split. Jackson's also been on the injury report all week. How's that going to affect him? I'm going Gio in full PPR. What do you say to that, Bryce?
Yeah, I'm gonna go Gio too. Based on when you have running backs like that, the matchup isn't necessarily as important when they can get that PPR value. And I feel like the Chargers are still trying to force feed Kelly the ball a lot. They want to get him rolling and rolling early. So even though Jackson did look better than him in the last game, but they do have a juicy matchup. But I think Gio just sees more action, especially in the the PPR format. So I'll go Gio as well.
Before that, Sam Joshi had asked, I have Drake, Jacobs, Robinson, Jamal Williams, and Gio Bernard. I need 3. Drake, Jacobs, Robinson, Jamal Williams, and Gio Bernard.
Man. I think I'm going to go with Drake, Jacobs, and Jamal Williams for the 3. That's from injuries you got set up.
I'm definitely going Jamal Williams. Just because that offense, the matchup, everything, touchdown upside, I like that. After that, it gets tough because Drake, Jacobs, Robinson all get 20 touches a week. Drake, had struggled a little bit before last week. It's hard for me to sit Jacobs, but they have a terrible matchup, but he gets all the work. I'm probably going Drake, Jacobs, Jamal Williams. That's a tough one though, because Robinson, despite him being a undrafted free agent, we didn't have a lot on him going into the season. He gets the touches at running back for Jacksonville, and he's worked in the passing game. But there's just not a lot of touchdown upside there. Like, this is a Charger defense that, I don't know if Jacksonville's going to be able to keep up, so I don't know how that works out. That matchup for Jacobs, though, is so bad. It's hard to feel good putting him in there since he doesn't get as much work in the passing game. But I do think I go Drake, Jacobs, Jamal Williams. If you wanted to sit Jacobs and play Robinson, I wouldn't. I wouldn't tell you you're wrong. It's tough.
Yeah, it's like he got put in a great spot due to some injuries where now he's got a plethora of options. Yeah, but you can't sit Jamal Williams. I think he can. I'm expecting like 75% of Aaron Jones, but he could very well do, put up as many points just because Aaron Rodgers can put him in the right situation. So
Gio's the tough one for me this week because we talked highly about him in a previous question, which I do like Gio and I do like the talent. But Cincinnati's usage of their running backs has kept Mixon from being successful at times. So if Mixon can fail, Mixon's a much more talented running back than Gio Bernard. Then Gio Bernard has a pretty good path to failure, where I don't see that for somebody like Williams in the same position where he's filling in and taking on a larger workload. So I definitely like Williams right now in this matchup. Obviously, that is, and Thomas in the chat made a perfect point that's depending on Aaron Jones being out, right? If Aaron Jones is traveling with the team, if Aaron Jones does play, then that changes the Jamal Williams value that you're getting this week pretty immensely, because the one thing Aaron Jones can do, and you can ask our boy Sully, Aaron Jones has a knack for the end zone. He knows how to find the end zone.
That area.
And he's so awesome. I love it. He said, I also have Antonio Gibson. Just another guy to throw in there against Dallas, who's terrible. This might be the Antonio Gibson coming out party this week. But yeah, I'm starting Drake, Jacobs, Jamal Williams.
Yep, that's what I said.
Okay, let me see. Deontay Johnson, Mike Williams, or Henderson? The answer is not Henderson.
That's correct. I'm gonna go with Deontay Johnson.
I'm going Deontay Johnson as well. Deontay Johnson. News that MT might miss week 8 too. Awesome! I just traded for him. That's great.
I've had him all year. Even better.
Good morning, Craig. How are you doing? Team out of nowhere says tight end premium: Damian Harris or Drew Sample.
Damian. I like Damian Harris for this week.
I'm gonna go Damian Harris as well. I was really hoping Drew Sample after that breakout when Azuma went down, that Drew Sample was gonna step up and be a volume receiver. I think this is a good week that he could potentially get more work, but it just hasn't happened. So I'm gonna go Damian Harris in the touches, even though I don't like playing New England running backs.
Yeah, it seemed like they want him to be the guy. The situation last week with, you could tell, not being able to scheme in practice really took away from their ability to really kind of get things rolling. But they want to give him the ball. They just game situation last time he wasn't able to touch it.
Our boy and superfan Joz Whedon says, "You dang East Coasters starting so early. You think there's a game in London? It ain't early, bro. It's 10 o'clock, 10:17 now.
But he's probably in the West Coast where it's set.
We're in the future. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know. He shows up for everything, though. Super fan, Joz Whedon. Love that guy. Pick one. Landry, Patrick, Beasley. Currently playing Beasley. I know where I'm going with this one. Do you know where you're going with this one?
I think hopefully they accept the trade. I'm going to go with Landry.
Hopefully. I'm starting Landry if you'd accept the damn trade. I don't know.
I like Tim Patrick, though.
That's the one that
he looked really good.
Beasley comes in third here for me because, one, I think the other two are more talented, but they play the Jets, and by the time we get to the second quarter, it might be 21-0, and it might be a just run the ball down the Jets' throat game. So Beasley always relies on volume. And I don't know that the pass volume is going to be there today. And I don't do that very often, right? Most NFL games we expect to be competitive enough for passing to happen for at least 3 quarters, 3.5 quarters before it's just run the ball. When you play the Jets, that's not guaranteed. We saw it last week.
They're horrible.
So
absolutely horrible.
I'm probably going Landry. Like I said earlier, I do think this game has a sneaky ability to shoot out, and that would allow for volume to be there for Landry. But Beasley would be third for me out of those three. Do I sell Mike Davis for a late third?
It kind of depends. I wouldn't personally, because I like how he looks, and I don't know if he stays in Carolina for long. I mean, I feel like he's played well enough to earn touches every week. But if your team's terrible and you want to sell him, I would try and look more for an early third.
I could agree with that. I think if it comes down to CMC's coming back and you can get that late third and nothing else, then I take it. If not, I just hold and see where he does go. The late third, if you lose out on a late third, you're not gonna lose sleep over it, right? But if he would move, let's say Adam Gase gets fired and Mike Davis ends up in New York next year.
New York.
You know,
Right.
that's a team that doesn't have anything at running back right now that has you saying that somebody like Mike Davis couldn't go there and get a majority of the touches. Um, yeah, I mean, there's definitely that opportunity for him to get work somewhere. So I wouldn't lose sleep if you didn't get that pick. PPR league, Trey Tillman wants to know, starting 2 running backs and 1 flex. I have Gurley, Drake, Swift, Woods, DJ Moore, or McKissick. So he needs 2 of the running backs. We have Gurley, Drake, Swift, and McKissick. And then 1 flex with those guys plus Woods and DJ Moore.
All right, so Gurley, Drake, Swift, McKissick. I'm definitely going with Drake out of those guys.
And I'm definitely going with Gurley out of those guys.
Yeah, I like Swift, but I'm gonna have to see it more than 1 week in a row for it to happen, which it could happen this week, and you could regret that. But Gurley still played well with the amount of touches they get, even when their games are kind of not close. He gets some PPR value. So I'm going to go with Gurley. And then what were the wide receivers? Moore, Woods, and then
McKissick. So I think McKissick's out on this list.
Yeah,
I don't think McKissick is a start. He's a great flex option when you're struggling, when you don't have names like this. But with these names, I don't think McKissick's in the conversation. I think I go with Gurley, Drake, and DJ Moore.
I completely agree. I was going to say, DJ Moore's been somewhat disappointing this year. People had him maybe getting into that wide receiver 1 tier. He's more been wide receiver 2. But with the matchup this week, he still sees a lot of targets, but Robbie Anderson's definitely the go-to guy for Teddy Bridgewater right now. This still could be a matchup to where DJ Moore kind of, may have another potentially breakout game. He already had kind of one with that big touchdown, I think a week or 2 ago. But I'm predicting him to have a big week this week.
Yeah, I like that a lot. And like you said about Swift, and this is where a lot of people, they don't look far enough into it. Swift had one of the most efficient breakout games in the history, right? He had a huge game, but it wasn't like his usage would have told that story. And Adrian Peterson, even during that, was still getting red zone looks and carries. That doesn't mean that he can't take that step forward and get more and more of that role, but right now, the role doesn't equal what he put out last week, and until we see that more, he is a sit for me at the time. Joz Whedon says, Cam versus San Francisco, Taney versus Pitt, or roll out Burrow versus Cleveland. I'll just say this.
Go ahead.
I'm starting Tannehill. I'm not sitting Tannehill at all right now. He doesn't have the volume of Patrick Mahomes, but if you look at all the underlying analytics of how Tannehill has played since joining Tennessee, they all line up from a per-pass perspective to what Mahomes has done. And that's nuts. And Pitt's run defense is so good. Their whole defense is good. But if there's a week where Henry isn't going to run all over the opposition, it's against Pittsburgh. And that means Tannehill might have more volume than he normally has. And their defense hasn't really stopped anybody either. So this is a game where he could throw 35 to 40 times. And with as efficient as he is, he's got some of his weapons back from COVID. I'm starting Tannehill. I just think he's been the best quarterback out of the 3. Cam Newton, on the flip side, has only 1 game this year where he's accounted for a total of 250 yards rushing and passing. Only 1. It's hard for me to trust him. He has to get into the end zone to score you points, which he can do, but I don't want to rely on that. I'm going Tannehill.
Yeah, so, I could play devil's advocate and say, Tannehill needs the run game to do well, but it doesn't matter if Derrick Henry is getting shut down. You've seen it that they'll force feed him, even if he's getting 2 yards per carry. So that doesn't bother me, where the defense is always going to have to worry about the run unless they're up 21 against the Titans, which I don't see happening often at all. So I'm definitely going Tannehill. But what you said with Cam, yeah, he is so touchdown dependent that you almost can't start him, especially when he's the only guy in that offense that is exciting to watch. Like he doesn't have any help around him. They got to do something, and until they get somebody or trade, I'm probably going to start Tannehill every single week. I think Cam comes in last year, and Burrow would be my second choice.
Burrow would be my second choice as well. This is another game where Burrow's probably going to throw 50 times.
Hurts to say.
But yeah, I think if you're looking at the guy that's played the best, been the most efficient, that's Tannehill.
Mm-hmm.
And efficiency at quarterback is important, so I like that.
Is Corey Davis back today?
I believe Corey Davis is back.
He's got both his wide receivers for the first time this year too.
Yeah, let's.
I believe, other than week 1.
Yeah, I think week 1, but other than that, you're right. Corey Davis. I believe Corey Davis is back.
I thought so too.
Yeah, he's back. He's back.
Yeah, and Pitt's secondary is good, but it's not the strength of their defense. Their front seven
Absolutely.
For sure is. That's what causes that's what makes their secondary look a lot better. So we'll see. It should be an interesting. That'll be a very good game. It's a game of the week, I believe. So I'm excited to watch that one.
Our boy Sully says, "I've eaten my crow." Aaron Jones was my second ranked back Jones. This week. We got to throw it around. You've got something to throw at me too. You can throw them to me on Wednesday night when you're on the Wednesday night show. I swear,
Is it Paul?
I think he literally goes the opposite of whatever we say just to do that in the chat. I think that's his whole purpose of being here.
Laughing on his couch.
Brett Ginter says 0.5 PPR, Jamal Williams, DJ Moore, or Debo Samuel. This is easily Jamal Williams for me this week.
Jamal Williams.
Yep. That is if Aaron Jones is out.
Yes.
We still don't know that for sure. It's Jamal Williams. If not, it's easily DJ Moore.
DJ Moore, yep.
Jay Collins says, I need help, please. McKinnon, James Robinson, Melvin Gordon, Devin Singletary. I need one.
James Robinson for me. I like McKinnon, and I like how they use him when Mostert was out. He's a close second to me, but James Robinson has just been very consistent, gets a lot of volume. I'll go with him.
James Robinson definitely. He's the only one here that is safe on touches, right?
Yeah.
Like he's probably going to get 20 touches no matter what. And I'll take that floor. And I don't love the ceiling of any of the guys in general, so I'm going James Robinson as well. What is AB's value in 2021 draft picks? Personally, for me, I think this really depends on where your team's at. I have a team that is a competing team where I've had AB on my roster for 2 years, so I get him back. I wouldn't sell him for a second because I feel like he could help my team too much in that situation. Now, if it was on the flip side and I felt like I was a bottom 4 team and I could get a second, I'd sell him in a heartbeat.
Yeah, I honestly could not agree more. I was thinking probably a second, but like you said, if he can almost put your team over the hump, like say your team is doing, you're just even above the middle of the pack at that point. He could be that guy that tips it to where you're near the top. I know we had like the debate on, what would have been a better fit for him. And we had both, good reasons based on volume and then one based on kind of chemistry. But I think no matter where he goes, he's going to be successful. And that's the main point. And my thing was that Tampa Bay, like Brady kind of hasn't had a consistent guy that he's used to kind of drive the ball down the field where, in New England, he always had Edelman that would always get that PPR or Gronk, and I feel like he wanted it to be Chris Godwin in Tampa Bay. But with all the injuries and stuff, he might not have been able to get that chemistry to where he wanted it to, and where he already kind of has a little bit of a foundation with AB. I could see being like,
come on, it was one drive that AB went nuts on, and they were together for like 6 days.
Yeah, but
they were together for like 6 days.
Didn't they practice before that?
Yeah, but he practiced with Godwin in the off season. I mean, they got in trouble for practicing in the off season. I just
Right.
I don't disagree that he's going to be good in Tampa Bay. This is an all-world wide receiver, and if he's even 80% of what he was at the beginning of last season, and in that game that he played with the Patriots, he's going to be fine, and he's going to be used. He's going to command some sort of volume. My only argument was Seattle's defense is horrendous. Buccaneers are going to try to run the ball whenever they can. And right now you got let Russ cook going on in Seattle, and he's one of the most efficient quarterbacks we've ever seen. Him and AB together could have been bonkers while still seeing great numbers out of guys like DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. Just don't know that we'll have the same thing in Tampa Bay, fantasy-wise, from that passing game.
Right, I see that argument for sure. Let me ask you, now that he's in Tampa Bay, who does he hurt the most? Because I would say that Mike Evans' value almost stays the same for me because he is super touchdown dependent. I think Chris Godwin's value to me tanks in my opinion. I wouldn't sell him obviously, but I think that AB vultures a lot of touches, a lot of targets.
AB definitely hurts Godwin more than he hurts Mike Evans, and I've already had this discussion a couple times. People asking, but you're right. See, I don't think Mike Evans is just TD dependent. So far this year, with him being hobbled and everything, he is. But he's also not the guy that's going to get 12 to 14 targets a game. And that's, and I'm talking about on the high side. Godwin is that guy. He's, probably 6 to 8. But I think we're going to see, the probably 6 to 8 out of AB. Somewhere close to that for Godwin. But Godwin was probably a 10-target guy. When healthy, before AB got there. So I think he definitely does take the biggest hit. Jamal Williams or James Robinson? Jamal Williams, I think we both agree on that. That's been a big question so far. But obviously, depending on Aaron Jones and if he plays or not. Okay. KZ on YouTube says, also, I need to sit two. I have McLaurin, Boyd, Fuller, A.J. Brown, and DJ Shark. First off, I think you have to start McLaurin this week. I think McLaurin is a must-start this week versus Dallas. I mean, if there's ever...
You have the chance to start him in a league, Rick.
Yes, you want to take this week versus Dallas, who has not stopped anybody. But after that, who do you sit? I think Boyd you have to sit.
I think so it's Boyd, Shark, AJ Brown, and who else?
Fuller and McLaurin. I think I'm sitting Boyd and Shark. You cannot sit Fuller. Fuller is the guy here that is the must start. He has been the most consistent this year. He's getting the volume. He's probably going to draw a lot of Jair Alexander, and people are going to be shied away from that. But Fuller has to be in your lineup right now.
The way he's playing. I mean, he's Brandon Cooks has been stepping up really well, which helps Fuller a lot. So I just see that consistent if a guy's putting up consistent numbers, and he might not be so flashy. I mean, you see it with Jamison Crowder all the time when he's healthy. It makes it almost impossible to sit that guy. Mm-hmm. So if Fuller's doing the same thing, you have to start him. It doesn't matter his matchup.
So who are you sitting? Are you sitting Boyd and Shark?
Yeah, so I'm sitting Boyd Shark. You can't sit AJ Brown since he's come back. He's been great. So the other two are not consistent.
Shades, welcome back. And guys, we are getting to all the questions. We're just a little bit behind, so just stay tuned and we will get those answered for you, I promise. Shade721 says, standard league, I'm starting Carson. I have Rojo and David Johnson for the second slot. Or should I pick up Jamal Williams and play him over them?
You pick up Jamal Williams and play him over them.
I would pick up. My order would go Williams, Johnson, Ronald Jones, Leonard Fournette coming back this week. We don't know how that's going to affect that backfield. Johnson's getting a bunch of touches, and if you're going to beat Green Bay, it's on the ground. Their secondary is decent, especially Zaire Alexander. So we just saw Rojo tear up the Green Bay run defense their last time out on the field. So, but I would go Williams, Johnson, Ronald Jones. Ronald Jones has a good matchup. I just want to know how he already lost a lot of the third down work to old McCoy last week, and with Fournette coming back, if he loses more of that run, he has looked better. I will be the first to admit. Our boy Sully was talking about eating crow. Ronald Jones has looked good, but he's also, the last 2 weeks have been the Bears and Packers, who where you beat them is on the ground. So I want to see. He had another good matchup this week, but I want to see if that continues and if Fournette gets worked in that scenario. So yeah, Williams. If Jones is out, I would pick up Williams and start him over both of those guys for sure. I've got Drake, Swift, Gio, Jamal Williams, and McKissick. Which two should I start? This is from Sam over on YouTube.
Drake and Williams.
Drake and Williams for me as well. Risk it for the biscuit with Cam over Big Ben. This is from Humumbibika on on YouTube. Don't know if I pronounced that right, but I think that's why you spelled your name that way.
I mean, you could risk it, but I would start Big Ben for sure. Cam's only got rushing upside and rushing touchdown upside with the weapons around him. I can't say it enough. Any quarterback that gets put on that team with the skill position around him is going to probably not do as well as they could. So I'm going to go with Big Ben, who has three wide receivers better than our best wide receiver.
Start one: Swift, Jamal Williams, or Justin Jackson. Luca Falsetto over on YouTube. I think we're going to be Williams easily. I think Williams is a must start unless
Williams
Jones
is the top
plays.
5 this week, in my opinion.
It's a smash spot. Usage,
Yeah.
everything's great. Jamal Williams, there's going to be very few times he doesn't win on these start sits.
Yep.
Oh yeah, and I play Big Ben too
Aaron,
over Cam. Just to make that clear, I'm playing
Yeah.
Big Ben.
Yeah.
Let's see. Okay, Jaws, I don't remember what your question was. I know it was up here. I'm going to double check this because he says I do get points for completions. His was the Cam, Tannehill, or Burrow start. He does get point per completion, and he was leaning Burrow, and that would even it out for me a little bit. But I still think Tannehill is going to have to throw more than normal against Pitt. I mean, I'm not going to tell you you're wrong if you start Burrow over Tannehill in that spot with the point per completion, because Burrow might throw the ball 60 times in that game versus Cleveland.
Yeah, I think both quarterbacks today are going to be under a lot of pressure. I mean, Burrow's going to be under a lot of pressure every week, but Tannehill today is going to be under more pressure than he's been all year, I should say. I'm sorry, but. So if you put Burrow in, I wouldn't blame you, but I'm still gonna go Tannehill to be safe. But Burrow could throw the ball 50 times today. So
Matt Bradley says, "Do you think Jared Cook gonna ball?"
do I think he's gonna ball? Oh, gonna ball. Okay.
Matt, I think Jared Cook's in a good spot because of the injuries around him. But the last time I thought he was in a smash spot, he scored like 4 points. So, do I have confidence in Jared Cook? No. Do I think he has the opportunity to ball out? Yes.
Yeah, low floor, high ceiling kind of guy. I feel like he doesn't get a ton of targets, but then again, now wide receiver 1 and 2 are out, which makes Alvin Kamara running back 1 and wide receiver 1 for this week. Jared Cook's got potential. I wouldn't feel, again, he's kind of like Hayden Hurst, where it's like I don't necessarily like feel good about starting him, but I don't really feel bad either.
Right.
So he's got the potential to ball out, but I wouldn't bet on it.
I wouldn't feel bad about putting him in your lineup, right? There's very few tight ends that have the upside that Jared Cook has, but it could also bring you a 2-target day,
Yeah.
one for 15 yards and 2.5 PPR points. So that's just what you get with Jared Cook. But you could also get the 11 targets, 8 receptions for 110 yards and 2 touchdowns, and then you're like, holy shit, Jared Cook just exploded for one of those weeks. Jared Cook is like the perennial. I mean, I don't know how long everybody else has played, but like I feel like it's been like since I was in college that Jared Cook was hyped every year. And the thing with him is that it got to where like nobody had him, and then he had a couple seasons where 8 weeks of the season he would be a top 5 tight end, and the other 8 he would be like 30. Tight end 30.
Right.
And it was like, so it was either
I remember he
you won big or not, and then he got a little more consistent there for a hot second, but that's just the Jared Cook for years.
Yeah, he's been around for a while. He played for the Packers, the Raiders. I know obviously the Saints. I don't even know who else.
Packers, Saints, started with the Titans.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Raiders, yeah. TS on YouTube says Godwin will be in the slot and Mike Evans, AB on the outside. AB will hurt Evans. It doesn't matter where AB is. He commands targets. Evans doesn't get the workload. He's not going to take as many targets away from Evans as he's going to away from Godwin, because Godwin's got a bigger market share of the targets when they're all healthy. So I think he hurts both of them a little bit, but he could literally cut Godwin's volume in half. That's how good AB is if he's right.
Right.
So that's the issue, and no matter what, Mike Evans is going to be the red zone guy there, right? Out of the wide receivers, he's going to be the red zone guy. We saw it with the week where he had 2 receptions for 2 yards for 2 touchdowns. Like that's his job is to get in the red end zone.
Brady's been notorious for loving big-bodied guys in the red zone. Gronk, Randy Moss, and now Mike Evans. It just shows time and time again that if he gets inside the 10 and they're throwing it, he's going to do fade routes all the time. And they can't those guys are too big.
Sean Dean says PPR, DJ Shark or DJ Moore, also Tannehill or Bridgewater. I'm going DJ Moore and Tannehill.
Yes, I do as well. Bridgewater can drive the ball down the field, but it seems like they struggle scoring a lot of times. So I'm still going Tannehill.
We have another donation from Derek Just. He says Ryan Tannehill or Matt Ryan going up against Brady and Godwin, leaning towards Matt Ryan because of matchup, and I have Ridley healthy, Julio full PPR. This is the part where I probably do go Matt Ryan over Ryan Tannehill. It is tough, but that Detroit defense is horrible, and Atlanta's defense is horrible, which means we might have two quarterbacks that are competent shooting out in a just a pass heavy game because of the lack of defense on both sides. So I do appreciate the donation. I am going Matt Ryan. Bryce, what do you say there?
It's Ryan and Tannehill, correct? Was already said.
Ryan Tannehill and Matt Ryan.
Yep, I'm going Matt Ryan 100%. Last week I said it. I was all over him. He had a lot of bad games or bad drives in a row. I think it was like 24 without a touchdown. Julio came back and he was looking like prime fantasy Matt Ryan again. So as long as Julio and Calvin Ridley are there, I'm Matt Ryan's a top 5 for me almost every week, personally.
I do not disagree with you there. Clayton Cranky over on YouTube says, do I start CeeDee Lamb or Robert Woods this week? Full PPR.
I'm going CeeDee Lamb. That guy, I was not on board for Dallas picking him because I thought they needed defense, which is true. But CeeDee Lamb he's good. So he at this point to me is almost an automatic start every week.
They did need defense. They do need defense. But the beauty of that is that benefits somebody like
Mhm.
CeeDee Lamb because there's going to be volume there. A lot of people are on Dalton's ass, but he didn't fumble the ball twice. I know one of the picks wasn't his fault. His wide receiver fell down. Didn't look great otherwise,
He also
but
had 2 seconds in the pocket every play.
That's also a lot of turnovers that I don't think you're normally going to see, which is that's obviously going to help the offense. But yeah, I'm starting CeeDee Lamb as well, especially with Robert Woods having a tough matchup this week. Thomas says Green Bay has Kenny Clark back now. I think he's talking about their run defense. But their run defense has been bad for not just this year, but last year too. Like that's how you beat them last year as well. And they had Blake Martinez last year. So I'm not afraid to attack Green Bay on the ground, even though I don't like David Johnson. I think people are still living on the 2016 David Johnson, and it's just not who you have anymore. PPR leaning strong on starting Higgins and Claypool, sitting Cup. That Bears secondary looks scary. Plus Higgins, Claypool matchups look juicy. Am I worried too much about the Bears? Your thought? And I seen you shaking your head, so I'm gonna let you go first. Obviously, I'm a Bears fan.
Yeah.
Is Blue Crew thinking too much about that matchup?
Yes, I don't think you can sit Cooper Kupp. Even he's not touchdown dependent, right? So he can get your 9 catches for 140 yards or whatever. It might not be that, but he's going to get a lot of volume, a lot of targets, and hopefully a lot of catches that come with that. So I'm not sitting Cooper Kupp for T. Higgins, and I would start Claypool over Higgins as well. So I would go Claypool and Cooper Kupp, because Cooper Kupp, like you say, the Bears defense is not it's a bend don't break kind of team where they might let teams drive, but they don't end up scoring touchdowns. I still like Cooper Kupp to get a lot of yards and catches.
Cooper Kupp is one of my favorite players in the league. I just think he's too good of a route runner. He gets separation, and he's probably not going to draw as much Jalen Johnson or Kyle Fuller. And that helps a little bit in regard to this. I'm starting him. I'm never sitting Cooper Kupp. I need literally
Agreed.
I need 8 bad weeks of Cooper Kupp before I would consider not starting him.
Yep.
So yeah, I'm definitely I agree. The Bears secondary's been great. They've been limiting wide receivers, but I feel like Cooper Kupp is in one of those tiers of route running that it doesn't matter who the matchup is. Higgins or Chark, full PPR flex.
Higgins.
I'm going to Higgins as well. I just the secondary for the Chargers is pretty good. I think everybody's healthy, right? Some of them IDP guys might be able to tell me 100% sure, but I think Higgins is the number one there in Cincy now, and I think they're going to have to throw a lot today. Start 2, Latavius Murray, Chase Edmonds, or Hasty. This is our boy Josh. Some good advice here.
Start 2.
Start 2. Latavius Murray, Chase Edmonds, or Hasty. Latavius Murray.
I'm gonna start.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. So then it comes down to Edmonds and Hasty, and I think I just gotta go Edmonds in that huge over/under game, and even I know he's gonna get a couple targets at least out of that backfield. Hasty, I just don't know what we're gonna see yet, and I'm just not comfortable there yet. So I'm going Murray and Edmonds.
Yeah, I agree.
TS over on YouTube says, you know what? Before we get into this question, and I apologize, TS, I want to make an announcement. A lot of people don't know. I know a lot of people that are in here, they play Dynasty. And in 2021, we are coming out with our first rookie draft kit, right? It's going to be just chock deep with information on every rookie that's eligible for this draft. You can go to rookiedraftguide.com. Put in your email address, and we will email when everything is ready to go. The way that you're going to get this is before we launch, if you are a patron on Patreon for Roto Heat, you will get that at the $3 per month level. And that guide is going to be updated all the way throughout the off season, and then next year it'll turn over into the 2022 class. So right now you can get it for $3 a month for as long as you're a patron on Patreon. After we launch, it will be for the $6 tier because it's going to be so in depth. It's crazy what we're getting ready to put into this thing. But it will be continuously growing and updating throughout the off season and off seasons and seasons to go in the future. So if you are a dynasty player and you want to be best prepared for your rookie drafts, rookiedraftguide.com, Roto Heat product that we're going to be putting out and launching in the next 15 to 30 days. We will email everybody and let them know when it is time for that to go live. But make sure you become a patron on Patreon before that goes live, so you can be locked in at the $3 per month rather than at the $6 per month level, and possibly more than that in the future, depending on how deep we go with this. So I wanted to make that announcement. It wasn't public yet. Some of the guys on the team knew that we were coming out with the new website, but it is going to be all the rookie content right there in one spot, easily to find for you. So rookiedraftguide.com. I will put that right in here. Okay, next question was TS over on YouTube. He said, McKinnon, Justin Jackson, or Brandon Cooks for my flex PPR?
I'm going Brandon Cooks this week.
Same here. I just think his upside is just, it's too big. It's 30-point upside, right?
He's had 2 good weeks in a row. So as soon as Bill O'Brien got
Isn't
booted,
that funny how that works, right?
had,
People get away from Adam Gase.
Good players start performing.
Boom. People get away from Bill O'Brien. Boom. Like there's just no secret there. It's amazing. All right, we got to skip some of the questions because our boy Derek Just has donated again and says Tanyan or Schultz, tight end, full PPR.
I'm going Tanyan.
I am going Tanyan as well.
I like Schultz, but Tanyan now seems like a guy that's getting them quite a bit of targets from Aaron Rodgers, and he's not dropping the ball. I just like how consistent he's been.
Derek Tanyan, I think, has gotten at least 5 targets the last 3 weeks.
Yeah. I believe
we know
so.
he had 3 weeks in a row with a touchdown. I think the touchdown equity goes up significantly with Aaron Jones out. The only thing I would say on this is Tanyan has been hobbled a little bit. I would pay attention, see if anything comes out about him being limited or anything as we get closer to game time. But it's pretty easily Tanyan for me in this spot for sure. Matt Bradley says, okay. Apparently, it's okay. Where did we leave off? I don't want to miss anybody, so if I miss your question.
TS was like the last one before that, I believe.
TS was that the McKinnon? Yeah, McKinnon, Jackson, or Cooks, right?
Yes.
Yeah, be patient with us. We got a long list of questions. We're going to get to all of them. Jalen Jew says start 2. Edwards-Helaire, Gurley, McKinnon, Jackson. I'm going Gurley and CEH.
Yep.
Builder 1K over on YouTube says pick 2. Claypool, A.J. Brown, Odell, Terry McLaurin, Tyler Lockett, or Christian Kirk. Kirk's out. Odell's out. Claypool's out. I think I'm going McLaurin and A.J. Brown.
Absolutely. Gary Terry's
I don't remember what we said. Matt said laughing my ass off, so hopefully it was because we made a joke and not because you're laughing your ass off at us. Brandon Sheridan over on YouTube says pick 3: Brown, AJ Brown, Kenny Galladay, Will Fuller, DeAndre Hopkins. Hopkins, Fuller. Then it gets tough.
I'm going Hopkins, Fuller, and Brown.
I'm going Hopkins, Fuller, and Galladay. So it's real tough. I just think Hopkins and Fuller are musts, just because the usage. Fuller's been super consistent this year, other than the one game where he had a little tweak pregame. Yeah, I'm going Hopkins, Fuller, Galladay. But I don't fault you if you go AJ Brown instead of Galladay. But Fuller and Hopkins, I think, are musts. They're all musts. Like, it's a good problem to have, to be honest with you. Matt Bradley says AP or Jared Cook. These ones, they're making us earn anything that we have with some of these questions. Some of these questions have been hard.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with AP. Jared Cook is, like, if you're going for ceiling, I think that's also important to talk about. If you're going for ceiling, Jared Cook. But if you're going for floor, AP.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say is AP. We know he's going to get touches. He will get some red zone looks too. So for floor there, I definitely go with him. I think that the way the running game is used in Detroit limits AP's upside, because the one with the upside there, I think, is Swift. I think that was proven last week. Jared Cook is the upside play here. I agree with that. Moombika says full PPR tight end Tanyan or Gronk. I think it's Tanyan again.
Tanyan, yeah.
Joz Whedon says, is Reichwell Armstead still alive? That is a good question. I don't know. That guy's had COVID for like 2 years now.
Yeah, he was like a big name as soon as Leonard Fournette got traded, and then that went away real quick. So
right.
I don't know what's up with him. I haven't even looked.
Claypool or Woods, 0.5 PPR. He's also starting Cooper Kupp.
It doesn't matter. I have no problem ever starting two guys from the same team, but I'm still going. Claypool has now had half of his games have been good, I feel like, this year. So I'm going Claypool. I like him.
I agree with you. Like, I typically don't worry about having two wide receivers, but when you're talking about two wide receivers in a matchup where the opposition just doesn't give up a lot to wide receivers, it's hard to imagine both of them going off. I still think they both have a solid floor, but I think the upside of Claypool plays into it, and I'm going to go Claypool as well for the upside, Woods for the floor.
Paul.
Would you bench Fuller for Gio Bernard for my flex spot? My answer is no.
No.
My answer is no, Sam. I am starting Fuller. I'm starting Fuller every week until it's proven otherwise, and then it'll take multiple weeks for that to be proven, I believe. I disagree. Everybody keeps calling Gio a must start. It was just 2 weeks ago that people were considering benching Mixon. So if at one point this season we were considering Mixon as not a must start, how is Gio Bernard ever a must start? This offensive line's still not very good. The usage is always confusing with the running back in that Cincinnati offense. Mixon is finally getting the usage, but in the passing game, it's never been what we thought it should be. And if Mixon can fail from a week-to-week basis, like, what would your just off the top of your head, because I could look at the stats and figure this out, but wouldn't you say Mixon fails half the time from a fantasy perspective?
At least,
right? So if Mixon is failing half the time, how is Gio Bernard ever a must start? And that's where a lot of people have been saying. I think he's a good start, but Will Fuller hasn't failed but one time this year, and it was because he had a tweak pregame, and that's always Will Fuller. He could have that happen. He could leave the game. But when Will Fuller's on the field, Will Fuller succeeds. And him and Watson have had this connection, not just this year. And then Jackson. We got to pick one of these guys. I'm going Juju. I know it's not pretty. I'm not confident in any of them. And Juju's the guy that I think is the most talented player out of the group and has the offense that could throw the most. And that's how 3 of these guys are going to make their money, right, is in the passing game with Swift, McKinnon, and Juju. So I got to go Juju, and maybe in a couple weeks we're saying that he's not a start. But right now I still think you got to start him unless you have better options than this.
So, I'm always down on Juju. I had him in a league and sold him high this year. Couldn't have been more happy. So I almost would rather go, and that would be hard for me because I liked how they used McKinnon when Mostert was out last time, which seemed like 2 weeks ago. So if he gets that same usage where they still made him the primary running back and the primary third down back out of the backfield, that's the way that people.
Cam Akers might get more run today. I was almost resigned to waiting until 2021, hoping to get it going. I think Cam Akers is the most talented running back out of that backfield. I think he's just still coming back from the rib issue and
perfect. If I draft a rookie and their first year is okay, and it's still obvious that they're the best talent in the backfield, I'll let them wait and break out the next year.
Jazz also says, I'm trying to figure out between Tanyan and Fant coming off of injury. This one's interesting.
Fant.
It's Fant for me. Fant's a start every week for me.
Yeah.
There's too much upside there.
I love
Central Football Highlights says, should I start DJ Moore, Will Fuller, Mike Williams? I'm starting Will Fuller out of these guys.
Yep.
McLaurin and DeAndre Swift. I don't know why I said DJ. But Swift is out for me. And this comes down to Fuller is the one that I'm starting every week, no doubt, out of these. So we've already talked about that heavily. Do you agree with that?
Yeah. I love. I don't own him anywhere, but I wish I did. I love Fuller this year. So.
But Lockett, AJ Brown, and McLaurin, we've got to start 2 of these guys. Where are you going with this one? Because this gets really tough to sit one of these guys.
Yeah. I'm going to go with the guys that I feel McLaurin and AJ Brown are the 2 guys that I feel like are going to put up the most consistent numbers. If anything, just based on matchup, I guess you could argue starting Lockett over AJ Brown, but AJ Brown is one of my favorite young receivers in the league, so I'm going to always stand behind him. So I'm going to start him until he proves otherwise.
I don't disagree with you. I'm going to go Lockett over A.J. Brown in this matchup, I think. It's very, very tough. McLaurin and Fuller starts. McLaurin's usage is like 6th or 7th best amongst wide receivers, but obviously his usage, the value of it coming from Haskins and Kyle Allen hasn't been the best. But this matchup, like, if he's ever going to bust out, it's going to be this week. So I'm starting Fuller and McLaurin. A.J. Brown or Lockett, it's 50-50. I don't know, man. It's so tough. Davis is coming back. He was getting used. Man, it's tough. Did our stuff break? Because it says we only have one person. Did YouTube break?
I don't know.
YouTube.
All right.
It says we're still live, so hopefully we're still live. Maybe my messages just aren't coming through. If you are on YouTube, please let us know. Yeah, I don't disagree with you. Fuller, AJ Brown, McLaurin. I'm good with it. Let's see. Somebody just messaged me over here. Yeah, they said it does say we have 7 watching over there. We're looks like we're back. Yeah, Mike says we're good. Okay, so we're back. It did drop. We need to make sure that we get this answer for Caleb. Caleb, if you're watching, I apologize. The connection between YouTube and our streaming platform broke for a second there. But we are starting McLaurin, A.J. Brown, and Will Fuller out of those. You have a good problem if you decide that you don't like one and you want to start Lockett. It's not a bad player to start. Swift is the one I would not start out of the group of those 5. Let's see. And again, we appreciate the donation. We appreciate those of you that are subbed on running back and 1 flex. Gurley, Drake, Swift, Woods, DJ Moore, McKissick. We did answer this one. And I got to remind everybody that when you do ask your questions, stick around. We are going straight down the list in order. Unless you donate, that gets you moved to the top of the list. And we don't push those, but we reward those. So we appreciate every one of you asking questions, but you got to stick around. We got to get to them. We're not playing any favorites here, unless you pay us, because we'll move you to the top of the list.
We'll take favorites.
Let's just be honest. But I don't remember. Start 2 running backs. We started Gurley and Drake, and then the one flex was DJ Moore. So that's where we were at, Trey. Do I start Jonnu Smith or Gronk in the tight end spot? This is from McSweet over on YouTube.
This is a no-brainer every week, Jonnu Smith.
I'm the same, Jonnu Smith. Hunter Henry or Jonnu Smith? This one's a lot tougher.
This one is a lot tougher, but I'm still going to go. Jonnu Smith's got a tough matchup, but the Steelers. I'm still gonna go. with Jonnu Smith.
Wrong. It's Hunter Henry. Hunter Henry. I think he's got 7 targets 3 weeks in a row. That QB upgrade.
Put a $5 wager on it. Who does better?
And the other thing that we're not factoring in is that Corey Davis is back. Humphreys is back. That Titans offense is healthy. That does hurt Jonnu a little bit, but I just think Hunter Henry in this offense. With the Chargers is one of the top 2 options, right? Keenan Allen, then Hunter Henry, and then Mike Williams on a deep ball. But I mean, the volume is going to go to Henry before Williams, I think. So I'm going. We got that. We got to have the tie broken in the chat.
We gotta have that. You want to do a little bet on it,
dude? Something.
Because last week
for one, you were too chicken to take the bet last week, but something had to be wrong with Akers for him to get 0 touches.
It said that I looked it up and it said that McVay just said that the game situation didn't allow for Akers to get in. That's what he said.
I don't believe it. I'm gonna put Akers in lineups tomorrow night because he's probably gonna get 25 touches. I don't believe it. Something had to be wrong with him. Is my chat broke?
He ain't getting 25.
I think my chat's broke now through my software. So let me pull this back up. My chat is definitely broken, so I'm backlogged here. Let's see. Brandon Sheridan over on YouTube says, is Lazard a good bench stash? What about Dez, too? I say Lazard, yes. Dez, no.
I agree. I mean, it depends on, like, if you got a spot for Dez, I guess, why not put him in there? But Lazard is definitely worth benching. No big, clear number 2 receivers really emerged from Green Bay. Marquez Valdez-Scantling drops a lot of balls, it seems like. So Lazard's definitely a decent stash.
Remember, everybody's talking about Dez being signed. Dez was signed to the practice squad, so he's still got he's still got a ways to go to earn his roster spot. So he
has a fairly easy path to become a starter. outside of Marquise Brown, the rest of them are bleh. So
I disagree. I
wouldn't
think
be
there's some
surprised to see him on
talent
the field.
at wide receiver there. I think Boykin's talented. I just think that's not the
I do
offense.
too. But, yeah. We're getting questions about you started a DFS for today?
We had a DFS question?
No, we're getting asked if you've made a Roto Heat contest.
Oh shit! I forgot completely about a Roto Heat contest.
Gotcha, Sully asking the Discord.
I have so much going on right now that my mind is
no
everywhere.
Excuses.
No, it's definitely true, but I still should not miss that stuff. Like, I'm not letting myself off the hook for forgetting. Jurassic says, same question for me as last week. Superflex, Rodgers, Watson, Murray.
He's got two. He's
Watson
two, right?
And Murray for me.
Yeah, I think last week I went Rodgers and Murray, and that was not good advice. So I'll go with Watson and Murray.
They're three good quarterbacks, but Watson and Murray have that little bit of rushing upside that helps propel them ahead. Rodgers isn't like he isn't Rivers in the pocket. He can move around a little bit, but those guys a little more young and nimble. They can make some stuff happen on the ground. No, see, they thought we were gonna freak out over the internet and the little drop we had there on YouTube. Paul even said the odds Rick is freaking out, kicking his internet quarter like 95%. Put on a music video and come back in 2-3 minutes. Did I freak out? I don't freak out.
We're just like, let me pull that back up. I didn't even know.
The only time I freak out is when assholes try to, make me. Like, one rule. Don't be a dick. You want to be a dick? I'll be a dick back. Point blank. Not worried about that. I just go on with my day. I mean, I love the donations. I don't want to make this, I don't want this to sound wrong, but you guys don't pay me enough to freak out about the internet and the internet going out. I do appreciate the donations, and I will answer those one way or the other. But other than that, I'm not getting rich over here. Sauce Money says Justin Jackson or Darrell Henderson. Standard. Justin Jackson. For me as well, Stafford or Herbert. Billy Foster over there on YouTube says Stafford or Herbert.
I'm going Stafford this week for sure.
I'm going Stafford as well.
He's a top 5 for me this week. I think any QB against Atlanta is a top 5.
It's hard. I want to start Kyle Allen in some DFS lineups. He's so cheap, and Dallas is so bad. It's probably bad play though. Who should I start? Noah Fant or Hunter Henry? Hunter Henry.
I cannot. I'm going Noah Fant. I just love Noah Fant so much. I think he is right there next to that elite tier. So is Hunter Henry, to be fair, but I can't shy away from Noah Fant. There's only 2 guys, honestly, that I would start over him.
It's easily Hunter Henry for me. I love Noah Fant too, but usage.
I wish I had Hunter Henry. I would trade you straight up for him.
No, I'm talking about this week.
Yeah, true.
I will. Not sure if you answered my question during the whole YouTube glitch. What was your question, Mike Ortiz?
Is that Connor?
Mike Ortiz said.
I feel like we did, and he might have not been back.
Yeah, or we might have been gone.
Choose
3 full PPR. Josh Jacobs, Murray, Joshua Kelly, Justin Jackson. We're sitting Joshua Kelly. I think we both agreed on that. We're sitting Joshua Kelly.
Yeah,
Mike.
we did.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, if we had your question and you didn't hear it, go ahead and ask it again, because we did have that little glitch in the Matrix, and I do want to get everybody's questions answered. And I have this weird lady with braces paused on my screen over here on YouTube since I had to bring up the YouTube channel for the chat since I broke my chat in OBS. And I'm like, I want to press play just to get her off my screen, but then I'll get feedback. Sully trying to take our money. Yes, he is. Higgins or Jackson at the flex. I'm assuming Justin Jackson again.
Yeah, it's got to be. I'm going Higgins.
I'm going Higgins as well.
We haven't. I don't know if we've disagreed much.
We
today.
have not disagreed enough. That's for sure. The show is probably boring. They're probably boring. They're like, yeah, they're making. They're just everything's easy. They're not arguing. There have been a lot of hard questions today, though.
You're right. You got to remind the chat of our trade, and a lot of people probably weren't there. The trade that we were talking about.
See if we're not quite back to where we were before the glitch. We're getting there, though.
Okay.
So we'll talk about that before we shut this down for sure. Justin Jackson or James Robinson. I think we're going to agree here as well.
Yeah, James Robinson pretty easily.
Yep, James Robinson for me as well. If Jones doesn't play, Dillon or Fournette. This is an interesting one.
Right. Yeah. I'm gonna go with Dillon. I just don't like how I don't know how healthy Leonard Fournette is. I thought he would be on track as a starter by now, but with injuries holding him back, things like that, I'm still not sure. Ronald Jones hasn't given them a reason to not give him 20 touches a game. So I'm gonna go with AJ Dillon. So.
I don't know. Okay, I want to remind everybody, you don't have to ask your question more than once, like within 2 seconds. We are going straight down the list, and I'm not going to answer them quicker just because you've posted it more than once. Just put it in there, and we'll go down the list. We'll get to it. You have to stick around for a little bit, maybe, if we're way behind. But Charlie does ask, if Jones doesn't play, Dillon or Fournette. You say Dillon, I say Fournette. I don't know how Dillon's going to be used. And Fournette could just come in and take the McCoy role on third down, because we know they're not confident in Jones catching the ball. We know that for certain. They have forced it to them when they didn't have other options. But Fournette could come in and get that role, which automatically means PPR points. It's a tough one to have, but I am going with Fournette over Dillon. Ronald Jones or Mike Evans at the flex. This one's easily Mike Evans for me.
100%.
Colin says, thanks for the Higgins pick. No problem at all. Robin over on YouTube says, Melvin Gordon or DeAndre Swift, PPR. This one's tough.
It is. I'm gonna go with DeAndre Swift. And this is a lot more based on matchup than who I think will get more touches. Melvin Gordon going against the Chiefs, I believe, right, this week. I just don't see – I see Philip Lindsay as a better PPR back, and I see that the Lions having to pass more, and DeAndre Swift's their pass-catching back.
Well, I have to correct you, and I don't like doing this, but Philip Lindsay does not catch the ball. Philip Lindsay had 0 targets last week with Gordon out. It's weird, but Lindsay just has not been the PPR guy. But he's the better runner. He's a better runner than Melvin Gordon. And that does play a part into this because I think that Philip Lindsay has some of that TD equity that he takes from Gordon. The problem is Swift has that same issue with a guy named Adrian Peterson, who doesn't catch the ball as much, but has some rushing equity. I probably go Gordon just because of usage, and I know he's going to get more usage than Swift. But the matchup does favor Swift. I just think I got to go with Gordon until I see some more Swift action there. So we disagreed for once.
Even though I was wrong, I'm still going to go Swift.
Even though I was wrong,
even though I was incorrect
wrong,
on that,
I'm going to stay wrong. I'm going to double down on being wrong and stick with it.
I think You are right. Melvin Gordon will get more volume, I believe, but I think that Swift's going to be more efficient with the touches that he gets.
I wouldn't argue with that because Melvin Gordon's never
Right.
been that efficient, especially on the ground.
Right.
But with the receiving work that he could get against Kansas City, it almost negates that issue. He could have 8 receptions
Right.
in that game. So,
Right.
Bernard Robinson, Jamal Williams, Ronald Jones, pick 2. Thank you, Robinson and Williams for me.
Yep, pretty easily as well. I agree.
Hockenson or
Some easy ones today.
Yeah, Hockenson or Fant. That was for Patel. Patel's been showing up a lot too. I didn't want to say. I thank you. You must have hit that subscribe button like everybody else should. Hit the subscribe button, the notification bell. Come back every week. We are here Sunday mornings.
You know who I'm
going Fant too. Fant
Yeah.
over Hockenson for sure. Patel asked AJ Green or Keelan Cole.
I'm going Keelan Cole.
I am going AJ Green. I like Keelan Cole, but it seems like they are starting to force feed AJ Green.
Right.
And I think he had 12 targets last week, 8 receptions.
Did.
Needs to find the end zone, but I know that volume's probably going to be there, especially in a game where we've talked about Burrow potentially throwing 50 to 60 times. I'm going to go AJ Green. If it's PPR, Cole seems to have some pretty good touchdown upside this year. Seems to be liked in that role. So, but AJ Green's my guy in PPR. Tom Brady or Justin Herbert? Herbert. Don't even think about it. I know Tom Brady's your guy, but it's Herbert.
I know. Yeah, I'm still gonna go. I just like to. Brady is like that guy that'll put up 4 or 5 touchdowns one week and then like 1 the next. But I just think Herbert's gonna be more consistently putting up yards and touchdowns. So I'm gonna go Herbert.
Rain Normsy says, "What's up with Aaron Jones?" And Rob Kane, "What's up to you?" What's up with Aaron Jones?
The calf. It was a calf injury, I believe, and he got it in practice this week. It sounds like he could play, but it's with the star running back like that, it's probably just more – and a good backup, it's probably safe. The organization's probably thinking it's safe to possibly, just have you sit a week and make sure you're healthy for the rest of the season. So that's what it's sounding like, that he could play, but he's maybe not super needed in this week's matchup. So I think
he wrapped it up pretty good. Good job. Good job, Bryce. Is Adam Thielens and Cook for A-Rob, Clyde, and Michael Thomas a good trade? I don't know when Thomas is coming back. I'm taking the A-Rob, Clyde, and Michael Thomas side 1,000 times out of 1,000.
Yeah, so is the trade good? No. It's not even.
It depends which side you're looking at. If you're the one giving up Adam Thielen and Dalvin
Right.
Cook and you're getting A-Rob, Clyde, and Michael Thomas,
well, yeah.
good for you.
Yeah, it's good for that person, but it's not an even trade, I should say.
I don't think it's as far off as you would assume with Le'Veon Bell going to Kansas City. That obviously hurts Clyde a little bit.
Right.
But
and this is
Cook,
redraft.
Cook and Thomas are almost a wash in redraft. And then Thielen probably has a little bit of value over A-Rob, but that Clyde share is just it's a bonus. I think so.
I don't know. I like A-Rob more than Thielen. So.
I do too. I'm just talking in a general public sense, right?
Yeah.
A-Rob and Keenan Allen are always for some reason undervalued for what they do.
Yeah.
And Adam Thielen, we saw last week him yelling at his quarterback, and now everybody knows why Stephon Diggs wanted out of town.
Stephon Diggs left, yeah.
So, yeah, I think that's a good trade for you if you're the one giving up Thielen and Cook. JP Covers says, Amari Cooper, Kenyon Drake in my flex. Cooper versus the number 1 wide receiver defense, and Drake versus the number 10 running back defense, standard league. For one, when it comes to Amari Cooper, I'm not worried about the defense because he'll typically get the volume. It does hurt.
I think he's saying it's against the worst defense against wide receivers is what I think he's saying. like the number one. It's like Amari Cooper's got the best matchup.
They're playing against
Going against
Washington. Washington doesn't have the worst against wide receivers, do they?
Oh, do they? I don't think they have the best though.
Yeah, they don't have the best, so I'm not sure. I'm not sure what that means. Also,
I can look.
Seattle's defense hasn't been great against the run. It's just been so bad against the pass, right? That it's the numbers are skewed a little bit. Let's see, against the wide receiver defense, Washington actually has. They have given up the fewest points to wide receiver. Let's look at. It's funny when you Google this, you got to Google the football team. The football team.
I know. I put in Redskins and it like didn't like pop up. I was like, oh, whoops.
I have a feeling there's
hard to get used to
here that. Okay, so then it gives me all the football teams. I just want Washington.
The Washington football team.
I also think that I know they had Philly on the schedule. Yeah. See, just a quick look at their schedule thus far. You had
I got the Giants in there.
You had the Eagles, Ravens, Giants. Were three of the 6 games, right? I would guess if we looked at the Rams, let's see that week. Damn it! Why does it not give me the stats? I'm guessing.
Actually, they played pretty good against the Rams. I think that was a really low-scoring game.
Rams scored 30.
If I remember right. Oh, never mind. I'm thinking of a different
the
game.
Ravens scored 32, but I mean, it's just when I look at this, I see 3 games where wide receivers were dead, and like the Cardinals Washington game, it was probably all DeAndre Hopkins scoring 27 of their 29 wide receiver points. So.
Right.
I don't think that's where we're gonna see Washington finish. I don't think we're gonna see them finish as the number 1 defense. That's the main point we're trying to make here. I'm
going to Amari Cooper.
I'm starting Amari Cooper, and I'm starting Amari Cooper every week. I don't care until we know that Dalton can't provide value for him. Damn, we got behind there. Went off on a tangent. Robin says CeeDee Lamb or Melvin Gordon. PPR.
CeeDee Lamb.
CeeDee Lamb for me. Rob Kane says Terry Patrick, Traquan Smith, or A.J. Dillon if Jones is out. It's Tim Patrick for me. I said Terry Patrick, didn't I? Tim Patrick.
Yeah, I was like, wait, is it Terry and Patrick? That's what I was like, wait.
Tim Patrick is my start.
Yep.
Go Crazy TV says T. Higgins or CeeDee Lamb.
CeeDee Lamb.
We have news. Thank you, Paul, for letting us know Aaron Jones is inactive. I need confirmation.
Fire up your Jamal Williams.
Yeah, fire up Aaron.
He's a Packers fan. I believe him.
I believe him too. 25 minutes ago, it said Aaron Jones really wants to play versus the Texans despite calf strain. Probably because he's like
Adam Schefter tweeted
but
it.
It's funny that came out 25 minutes ago. No shit. Aaron Jones wants to play. It's against the Texans. He's like that's.
Yeah, I know.
That's 3 touchdowns. Rick could give Sully another touchdown counter update.
Dang.
Yeah, I'm definitely going CeeDee Lamb over T. Higgins. That was the last question we had, so I agree with that. Rob Kane, choose 2 of the 3 full PPR: Chark, Woods, DJ Moore. 2 of the 3.
Woods and DJ Moore.
Woods and DJ Moore for me as well. Jordan Akins is inactive. That makes Fells more viable. I agree. So, what about Jamison Crowder? Did we get news on Jamison Crowder? Let's see.
He was last doubtful once we looked, or right before the stream started. Let me see here.
I thought thought I had Aaron Jones. Yeah, there he is. 1, 2, 3. Aaron Jones.
Oh, yep. Full list of Jets inactives. Jamison Crowder is on that list.
He is out. Jamison Crowder is out.
And that is tweeted by Andy Vasquez.
All right. Let's get that list updated. Josh says, I could flex Hunter Henry over Chase Edmonds, and I would do that. I don't like flexing my tight end, but I would take Hunter Henry over Chase Edmonds. Keelan Cole or Robert Woods? I'm going Robert Woods. I like Keelan Cole, but this is a matchup that I'm not confident in, to be honest with you. JJ Green, would you guys start Swift or Gibson, and which DST, Patriots or football team? Patriots play San Francisco. First I'm starting Gibson because, I mean, just 1 week ago, last week he had a little more of a split, but he had like 93% of the running back touches just 2 weeks ago. So I'm starting Antonio Gibson against the porous Dallas team. And then DST, the football team has Chase Young back, right? Can somebody confirm that?
Yeah, he played last week, I believe.
Chase Young came back last week, right?
Yeah.
They put so much pressure on the opposition, and Andy Dalton can definitely botch under pressure. So I'm going with Washington there, and that pressure they bring.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. The Dallas O-line right now is terrible. They have a lot of injuries, not playing very well. The Washington Redskins have a lot. The Washington football team has a lot of upside for sacks, where the Patriots defense has a lot of upside for not giving up many points and maybe a pick or two. So you can it kind of depends on whatever format it is. Where I've seen formats where not allowing a lot of points gives you a decent amount. So that's kind of your tops up there. But I'm going to the football team. Sorry.
Defense is so variant. Like it's
right.
We can tell you one thing, and the complete opposite could happen just because of one little thing happens, and then the whole butterfly flight goes off, and it's.
Mm-hmm.
I'm never really comfortable answering that because any one of the defenses could be the highest scoring on the week just on a fluke play.
Right.
So. We'll just make that known. We have another donation. Jason Abeld over on YouTube. Thank you for the donation. He asked DJ Moore or AJ Brown. And I think we're both going to agree on this one, too.
Who are you going? DJ Moore, right?
I'm going AJ Brown.
I'm going DJ Moore for that. I'm telling you, I think this is a big week for him.
I'm going AJ Brown. I know that doesn't help, so hopefully the guys in the chat will help. But
you thought we were going to agree. I have them kind of right next to each other, to be honest. But AJ Brown to me is. I want to see what his usage looks like with everybody healthy now, and I just think DJ Moore is for sure going to get like 8 to 10 targets today.
Yeah, I think AJ Brown is too. So I'm going AJ Brown. Go Crazy TV says Robbie Anderson or T. Higgins.
Robbie Anderson.
Robbie Anderson is a must start until proven otherwise.
What happens when you leave bad coaching?
Get out from under Adam Gase. You know what is funny? Crowder would be like a 60-point per week scorer if he didn't play under Adam Gase, right? He's only scored less than 25 like one time this year in the games he's played or something. Let's see. Jason asked about DJ Moore and AJ Brown, and Jaws in the chat's like, really? I'm trying to decide who to start between Mecole Hardman and Brashad Perriman. Yeah, I mean, if you're sitting DJ Moore or AJ Brown, thank your league mates. That's all I can say. Okay, let's jump over to Facebook real quick because now I got this stuff all mixed up. We are going YouTube. We will get to your questions, starting with Rob Kane's question. That'll be next, but we're going to get a couple of these Facebook ones. I think we already answered Hunter Henry or Jonnu Smith. Yes, we did. Since MT seems to want to keep riding the pine, MVS or James Washington?
I'm going MVS.
I'm going MVS as well. Carson or Gibson, standard scoring? Carson.
I think I'm going either scoring Carson.
Yeah, I'm Carson no matter what for sure. So there's the ones that were over on Facebook. We're not forgetting anybody. It's a little harder than normal because normally I have it all in one chat, but since we had a little glitch, it has messed everything up. Back to Rob Kane over on YouTube. Need one to flex, full PPR. James Robinson, Antonio Gibson, Deontay Johnson.
James Robinson.
It's between James Robinson and Deontay Johnson for me. I'm going with Deontay Johnson. No problem. No problem.
Gotta break it.
We love helping people. Yeah, you jinxed it. We were agreeing on a lot of stuff, and now I think it's flipped.
I had to go devil's advocate.
What order would you put them in? Right, I'm going Johnson, Robinson, Gibson. I'm just curious.
I'm just flipping Deontay. Deontay Johnson.
Robinson, Johnson, Gibson.
Right. Yes.
It's just funny.
Gibson didn't have JD statistics.
It's just funny if you look at the chat because somebody else chimed in and they said to start Gibson. So I just thought it was funny that we're both thinking third out of the three.
He's not the pass catching back, so I can't.
Pick one. Better flex: Christian Kirk, Chenault, Cole, or Marvin Jones Jr. Marvin Jones Jr. is out unless we're talking DFS. I think he's fine in DFS because you want to play him when nobody else is, and he's burned everybody for a few weeks. So if he does go off, you're going to be one of the only ones that have him. He might even be higher owned this week. I haven't looked at him much this week, but Chenault, I think, has the floor, right? They are getting him touches. They're making sure to get him touches. So I think Chenault has the better floor, but Keelan Cole has been the red zone guy, and Christian Kirk is the boom bust guy for Arizona. Arizona has that matchup. I'm probably going Christian Kirk this week. I'm not trying to chase last week though. He didn't have a lot of volume. He had 2 touchdowns, a 6-yarder and an 80-yarder, but Seattle's defense can give that up too.
Yep, I agree. I like Christian Kirk for this week. So.
Tyson Trick says AJ Dillon or Odell with Aaron Jones out. I'm going Odell. Dillon's almost never going to be the answer for me because we don't know. We don't know what he's going to get. We do know that Williams is the pass catcher. We do know he's probably going to get 80% of the pass catching work out of the backfield. That's what's valuable to me in PPR leagues. In a standard, I could see maybe starting Dillon, but I'm not tying myself to Dillon until I see how he's going to be used without Aaron Jones in the mix. Terry McLaurin or AJ Brown?
That's a good one.
I'm starting Terry McLaurin. His usage, his volume.
He's only had, I think, 1 week with under 10 points. Terry McLaurin.
Should I start Leonard Fournette or Le'Veon Bell?
I'm going to go with Leonard Fournette.
I'm going with Fournette, too. We got to see how Bell's going to work in.
It was even questionable that he was going to be active today. So I know he is, but he is.
Okay.
He's apparently supposed to get some work, but that could be 2-3 touches.
Yeah, and they both could. I mean, they both could fail. But I think they're both. I think Leonard Fournette's the best running back on his team. That's the difference,
I completely agree with that.
If Ronald Jones fumbles in the first quarter, sayonara, Fournette money the rest of the game, right?
Please.
I agree. Jason says, that's my girlfriend's team. My teams don't have that luxury of deciding between A.J. Brown and...
He's also got McCole Hardman and Rashad Perryman to worry about.
His girlfriend must actually tune into the shows and listen to what we say. Jason just it appears that he ignores the advice and gets out drafted by the girlfriend, taking that Roto Heat advice. Josh Whedon says you have to come at them with the fire questions like I have, Jason. And then Josh Whedon follows that up with, should I start Rashad Perriman or Andy Isabella?
I'm going Perriman. Especially Crowder out.
I'm going Perriman as well. Chow, I hope I say your names right. For everybody, I hope I say your names right. Apparently, I wasn't saying Tunyon right, but I'm gonna call him Robert Tunyon from now on. Geo or Swift in a standard league. This is the Funkadelic over on YouTube.
Swift.
Yeah, I think I lean Swift. I don't like either. I know that people they've been pumping Swift up. Pumping Geo up with Mixon out, but I'm not nearly as confident in Geo as everybody is making it out to be. If we can see Mixon fail half the time, we can see Geo fail this week. Just imagine this, right? Last week, who was the fill-in running back that everybody thought was a smash? Alexander Madison.
Yeah.
And that dude just completely bombed.
Yeah.
It's just Gio's my bomb guy. He could definitely be very successful, but I think he bombs over Jamal Williams for sure.
I compare when people think of running backs getting injured and their backups coming in as similar to how people get rookie fever, where they just think that this running back is going to be as good, if not better, than the person that was before them. But nobody ever really got super excited about putting Mixon in their lineup. But now all of a sudden, Gio Bernard is the bee's knees. I just don't. I guess I just think it gets hype to see a player get, especially a player that already got beat out for a starting role a long time ago, get put in a position where a guy that wasn't even close to as talented as him wasn't really that successful in fantasy wise.
Holy shit, that was a long answer. I about fell asleep there.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, sorry for you.
Rob Kane says, who would you rather have for the next 3 weeks? The next 3 weeks, 3 weeks only. Evan Ingram or Richard Rodgers?
Evan Ingram. So.
Dude, it's so hard. I was one of the biggest Evan Ingram fans, right? The dude is uber talented. He's so athletic. Something's wrong. And he can't catch.
He dropped the game winner.
Yeah. He's dropped multiples. I do think that Richard Rodgers probably starts losing some of that work as, well, I don't know. It might be Richard Rodgers.
Evan Ingram is still averaging 6 targets a game. So
6 targets
you would think
and
with
1
his talent,
reception is not too bad.
Yeah, right.
I think it's.
He didn't have a terrible week.
I think it's Ingram, but it's not easy, and it should be, right?
No, it's not.
It should be easily Ingram. I don't know what's there. Hopefully something changes. It's Ingram for me as well, but it's Richard Rodgers could also Did you see Hakeem Butler? How big he is?
Yeah.
They should start working him in there, and Jackson's out now, and it's that's a mess. Richard Rodgers probably dies in week 8. Probably gets hurt.
Yeah.
It's just what happens in Philly. If I was a player in Philly, I would be begging for a trade right now because something's in that water, right? They cannot. It's crazy. They cannot stay healthy. Flex, Swift or Justin Jackson? Standard.
Justin Jackson.
Standard. Justin Jackson for me as well.
It closes it a little bit, but still Justin Jackson.
Josh Whedon says rest of season, Chargers or Bucks defense. I don't have any leagues that have defense, so I don't know the defense schedule, but I just think the Bucks are too good. They put pressure.
I thought they were
They
good
were.
last year, but they just Jameis Winston, put him in such terrible situations with all the interceptions that he threw. So I'm going. The Bucks have my favorite linebacker core in the NFL right now. So
The
I'm
Bucks
going.
defense is very, very good. They put pressure on. They can intercept the ball. They can do everything
Right.
at all three levels. That secondary was where we were worried, before the season started. But it's played pretty well.
Right.
Um,
They're playing very well. Yeah.
PPR, choose one: OBJ, DJ Moore, DJ Shark, Deontay Johnson. We need one. I'm going DJ Moore.
I'm going DJ Moore. Yep.
Bucks have a week 13 bye. My team might too, though. 5-1 in that league. Not sure.
He thinks with playoffs.
Oh yeah. I'm going with the Bucks there. I think, but it is tough. You just never know. There's so much variance with defense. That's why I took it out of all my leagues. I don't have it in any of the leagues I host. The Dynasty. It's one thing to have it during seasonal, but I still think that it's not skill, right? You can't predict, unless Jameis Winston is starting quarterback, you can't predict pick sixes. Or if Matt Schaub, you remember that game? Like, Matt Schaub had like a pick six in like 4 straight games one time back in Houston. You can't predict that stuff, and that's what makes defenses the best defenses. It's not keeping people from scoring. It's turnovers and touchdowns that make them very valuable, and that's not predictive. It's not very predictive, and that's why I think it should be done away in leagues, for sure. Cup, Shark, or Godwin? PPR.
Cup.
I'm playing Cooper Cup. Jaws says, got 4 dinos, only 1 IDP. Jaws, I think I'm going to start 1 league next year. I don't think I'm going to start more than that, unless I get somebody to help me run the leagues I've got. But I think I'm going to start an IDP league next year and have it a beginner IDP league for guys that don't have as much experience as some of these other yahoos we have around here. Okay, so first off, I want to remind everybody, if you're a Dynasty player, you can go to RookieDraftGuide.com and put in your name and email, and we are going to let you know when we are going live with our 2021 rookie content. It will start out kind of limited and grow as we progress, right? But this is free to anybody that is let me rephrase that, right? It's not free. It is an add-on to anybody that is currently a $3 Patreon member per month. It will be $3 for them forever. After we launch, it will be for the $6 level on Patreon. So it's a bonus for our early patrons, and then it will go up in the future. But there is going to be a lot of information here, and if you guys watched our rookie content last year, you've seen how we broke it down and rated by different attributes for different positions, and we had an overall. And this year we're taking it even further. So, one thing we're going to do is, if you're in your rookie drafts, we are going to have recommended draft slots for these guys. We're going to have a lot of stuff that you don't see other places that I don't want to announce, because I don't want anybody to steal our shit until we're the first ones with it, to be completely honest with you. So that's RookieDraftGuide.com. Going to be in-depth this year, very in-depth this year, taking it a step further. And again, become a patron on our Patreon. $3 level will get you that forever, and it's going to be content coming out for that forever. RookieDraftGuide.com. Make sure you hit that subscribe notification bell here on YouTube. We appreciate that. Facebook, make sure you like, subscribe over there, and join the Dynasty, the Redraft, and the DFS groups. All you got to do is search RotoHeat in the groups. You'll find all of them. Join all of those. Question over on Facebook. We have Gibson versus Dallas or Gio versus Cleveland, half PPR. I gotta go Geo here. I don't love it.
I gotta go Geo
but
here.
I gotta go Geo here. How much weight do you put on the QB bench depth? This is Rob Kane. I'm 6-0 so far, but Big Ben is my QB with no backup. Heavy with wide receiver and running back. Trade a top wide receiver, Chark, Thielen, Deontay Johnson for a backup QB. Rob, when is Pittsburgh's bye? Do we know? Anybody know off the top of their head?
I do not know from my head.
Steelers.
Didn't they already have it?
Oh, they already did. Yeah, they got forced into it, right?
Yeah.
They don't have a bye. I'm
Right.
fine with just keeping what you've got and worrying about that if he would get hurt.
Right.
Like I would
Yeah.
in a 1 QB, I would be fine just keeping Roethlisberger, starting him every week, and then worrying about it if there's a reason to worry about it. Don't worry about it just because you don't have a backup. Mike Williams or Jared Cook?
Mike Williams.
Mike Williams. I forgot the Steelers got forced into their bye early. I forgot all about that because of the Titans situation.
Yep.
All right, it is noon. I've got lineups that I got to get set. Let's see. In a 3-team trade, I sent away Hopkins, Montgomery, and Jonnu to receive Adams, Taylor, and Chark. What are your thoughts? I like it because, one, unless this is a tight end premium, Jonnu's value is suppressed for me. I'm never going to have a high value on that. Hopkins and Adams, I think, are very similar, and I think Taylor is an upgrade over Montgomery. So it basically makes Chark like almost a free piece in that deal. I mean, you do have to put a little bit of value on Jonnu, but I think that I think the Adams, Taylor, and Chark side is the best side.
Yeah, I think you could. Depending on what your team is, I feel like both teams could benefit from that trade.
Yeah,
so
I don't think it's like crazy one way or the other.
Yeah.
Jaws says, glad you guys stayed on later today. You all were stopping before I woke up. We're normally on till noon. We normally do noon, don't we? So we normally get off.
I think there was only I think week 1 we it wasn't like too active. We got off like 11:30 or maybe week 2, but usually it's 11:30 is the earliest we've ever done it, unless that one week that we were unable.
We did have a week where Bryce was in a wedding, and I had some stuff that came up, and I wasn't available. That we didn't even go live, but we're normally on till about noon. But then that's when I really do have to cut it off because I have lineups that I have to get in, as well as make sure that my 400 league members don't mess up their shit before we start. Okay, these are the last 2 questions. We got Go Crazy TV and Robert King. Go Crazy says T. Higgins or Robbie Anderson.
Robbie Anderson.
I'm going Robbie Anderson easily there as well. And then Robert King says, should I start Stafford or Herbert?
Stafford for me this week.
I'm going Stafford as well. I do think that's really close. I wouldn't argue against it. But I just think Stafford versus Atlanta could be the week that we've been hoping for from Stafford. So I'm going Anderson for Go Crazy and Stafford for Robert King, and we both agreed on those. We agreed a lot today, which is weird. Last one, AJ Brown or Robbie?
Yeah.
AJ Brown or Robbie? Quickly.
I'm AJ Brown.
AJ Brown, but I don't love it. Robbie Anderson's just balling out right now. But
I think DJ Moore beats Robbie this week, but that's why I don't know.
AJ Brown, and then stab us next week when it's Robbie.
Yeah.
First world problems there, Go Crazy TV. First world problems, AJ Brown and Robbie Anderson. Which is crazy that we're calling it that when Robbie Anderson was suppressed
Yeah.
for so long under Adam Gase and the Jets and all that. So
I thought he'd be good, but I didn't expect the season he's having for sure.
hey, before we go here, I am going to do one thing. I'm going to throw the old
The DFS.
Discord.
Oh.
Oh wait, what did you say?
The DFS. I didn't know if you were gonna put that in the chat.
I haven't even built it yet. That's the trouble.
Oh, you haven't? Oh.
Here, let me do that. Okay, you got to watch the chat. You have YouTube up?
I do not. Let me put it up real quick. We can talk about our trade in the meantime.
Yeah, I'm gonna need more.
Jeez, look at this guy. Always asking for more.
Hayden Hurst. I gotta have a better piece than Hayden Hurst then.
You got Jimmy Graham.
No, it doesn't have to be a tight end. I don't care if it's a tight end.
I don't know if I got more I could give, to be honest. I'm not deep, except at kind of wide receiver, but then I'd be losing one and not
Do you
get.
have a second?
Well,
you
I
have a
get
second rounder.
I've got a third rounder.
Do you have a second rounder?
I do.
I might need the second rounder.
What if I throw in a second and you throw in a third?
That doesn't make any sense because if you get first and I get last, that means it's one spot.
Well, I think I have 2 second rounders, so the other one might be early.
I'll take your fourth rounder, or I'll send my fourth rounder. So then it's at least a round. You know what I mean?
Okay, late third-ish. Let me look at what my other it might be.
Create contest.
Oh no, it's gonna be late.
So they're both gonna be late second. So I'll send my fourth.
Maybe mine could be mid. I don't know.
I want
yet.
your second, and I'll give you my fourth. And if you end up winning this thing, it ends up being a round apart. Right? It'll be 13 picks away, right? Am I doing math right? I'm trying to do 9 things at once.
Yeah. You're correct. You're correct. All right, let me look at this. Hold on. I got to look at it for a second.
Sunday, 12 games, private, multiplayer. It will run no matter what, because it'll reset.
I hate getting rid of Scary Terry, but Noah Fant could be like George Kittle and Kelsey in a year or two is the problem.
Invite all friends.
All right, I'll do that.
All right, send that over. I will accept that.
Oh, wait. Oh, shit. Hold on. I forgot that. I must have not clicked on Scary Terry. Hold on.
Okay, I got the contest created. Give me 1 second here. I'm trying to do 9 things at once. Upcoming invite.
For all you people listening, I guess if you didn't hear, we're making a trade. I'm trading a second rounder, hopefully a mid to late second, Scary Terry and Hurst for Jarvis, Noah Fant, and probably the 401. Who wins? Hopefully me.
I think they're gonna vote for you. I think Terry McLaurin is. I think it's pretty even, to be honest.
I think it's even too. I think, Scary Terry's young and Jarvis is in his later 20s, I believe, and obviously one side upgrading upgrading pretty good at wide receiver. The other side's upgrading pretty good at tight end, and then the picks maybe even the difference between the wide receiver gap there, or I'm sorry, the tight end gap there.
Drop Discord link over there. I'm dropping, if anybody wants to play in the DraftKings League, $5. I don't care what Paul says. Paul's opinion means 0 to me. He says you still win, but yeah, I would much rather have the young wide receiver than the tight end in a rebuild. And I feel like I can address tight end when needed. I don't think there's very many opportunities for me to get a young player like Terry McLaurin.
Right.
Because it's just.
And he's my third wide receiver. He's my 3. I've got Calvin Ridley and Michael Thomas. So It's not like
what this
you know,
does for me,
playing
and this is where a lot of people don't think, right? A lot of people are playing checkers and they're playing reactive. I'm thinking ahead, right? I've had some interest in Stephon Diggs, and I don't really want to trade Stephon Diggs. I don't need to. But with McLaurin in that group of wide receivers that I've got, it does give me the freedom to explore that option and potentially bring on some more youth and picks in that sense,
right.
where it I don't really have that freedom otherwise. So there's more to it than just that, and that's where a lot of people, it's easy for us to answer stuff in a vacuum, but there's thoughts of what do I do going ahead now. What does this open up for me? I've got a lot of veteran running backs I could move, and now just concentrate on picks or young running backs because my wide receivers are so deep, or get that other tight end that I'm looking for. I also have Cole Kmet, who I think is going to be a good tight end, and he's starting to get used more and more. So there's a lot of different avenues this opens up for me from a future perspective that I don't have with Fant and Landry. And it's not guaranteed Hayden Hurst doesn't play well. They made a coaching change and then he had a good week. So what do we think? Pick 2: Kareem Hunt, CEH, Josh Jacobs. Kareem Hunt and Josh Jacobs. Kareem Hunt, CEH.
Yeah, Josh Jacobs. Who are they playing
Tampa
today?
Bay.
Tampa Bay. Yeah, I'm gonna go with CEH and Kareem for this week.
Let's see. I
and I love Josh Jacobs.
I posted that DraftKings link, right?
Usually it'll say notifications because I think I'm your friend, but I'll get it in the Discord. I wish the Discord. It's so weird. The Discord doesn't like drive you to the app. It like makes you fill it out in the Discord. It's kind of weird.
Is it weird?
I don't know why.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's like it like makes you fill it out in the, like it like just opens up like it's weird. Like it opens up the DraftKings website through Discord. Like you're still in the Discord app. So like if you're logged into the app, then it will make you re-log in here. It's just kind of weird. I don't know.
All right.
It's not a big deal if you know.
All right. I have a lot I have to do in 52 minutes. So
right.
I love you all. I love the Heat Seekers. We appreciate you hanging out with us. We appreciate your questions. We super appreciate the donations. The growth of Roto Heat is dependent on, us getting some money coming in, right? So that we can open up more features and options and stuff like that. So we don't like pushing it. We love what we do. We love the fantasy community and all of you guys. But, if you do want to help us out and allow us to bring more and more stuff, you can go to patreon.com/RotoHeat. And there's some options there. That's also going to get you, if you get the $3 per month, before we launch rookiedraftguide.com, you will have that forever at $3 a month. And in the Discord links in the chat, everything. Love you guys. We will see you next Sunday. Tuesday night, Dynasty Heat Seekers. Wednesday night, the Fantasy Inferno, 9:30 p.m. Eastern. Watch those.